We're live right now. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Happy Friday. You made it to the end of the week. I am going to repost this link. I'm showing it on Twitter. It could be a Sarah problem. That the broadcast is not available in your last tweet. So I'm going to still try to retweet it and see if it goes live. It could be that it's just not connected to that tweet.
Yes, give us 1 second. Hopefully it's propagating through everywhere right now.
Yep, stand by. We have an awesome day today, folks. I'm going to let people find us for a second, and then we'll kind of go over what we did yesterday. Yesterday was such a freaking cool day, and there are some freaking cool stuff happening in the interwebs. I get very excited about hackathons. The first couple days are always like find your feet, and then by Wednesday and Thursday, people are running. They're running, and I always feel like the person in the marathon that hands out like the little juice cups and the Jello squirts, whatever they are, and those little things that they give by. Back in the day, feral Gen Xers, we gave out wedges of oranges like proper humans. So we're going to see if this propagates. I'm going to make sure, I'm going to tweet it anyway, just so you can see it. I'm going to say this may or may not be a link, but I want to make sure this may or may not be the link. Okay. We have a lot of really cool things to go over first. I'm going to kind of do a download on what we did yesterday and why it matters. First and foremost, our core had to get done. The thing that was on the table that had to get done, and you had to submit. Make sure that you're at the little thumbtack up at the top. But for day four was all about the systems, right? Data memory. It's data memory systems. How do we capture this stuff? How do we make sure that we have persistent databases, and why do they matter? Why does things like this have to be a part of your workflow? And I hope that you all got everything connected and whatnot. We did have a special guest yesterday. Many of you were unavailable in the afternoon, but around 3 o'clock yesterday, Eastern Standard Time, we had about an hour and a half open play sandbox with Arweave. And Arweave isn't necessarily one of our sponsors, but it is very important to one of our judges. And one of the judges, El Theo, is involved in many different things in the digital overlay. So he is kind of like, I was trying to think of a good word for him. When someone asks, why does this matter? I don't even care. He is a bridge between what we would call Web3 or blockchain and emerging technologies and the legacy systems that say, hey, you have to have a website, and you have to do this, and you have to have all of this stuff in one place. He has a really broad level of expertise on a lot of different things. And one of the things that we talked about yesterday is when you're thinking about digital sovereignty, right? Many of you might have, let's say, health apps, because that's one of the categories that you could be building around. How do you have, not just the persistence of the conversation with your AI, but also where does your data live? What happens if you have a link that is really, really integral to your entire system, and it suffers from link rot? It goes away. You've built on shifting sands. That is a big problem in the day of AI. We are actually getting rid of more than what we're creating, which is really bizarre when you think about it. But you want to make sure that has a lasting impact and can be accessible to future dwellers long after you have escaped your mortal coil. So the idea of our drive, Arweave, and then also some of you are using, if I'm paraphrasing here because I have to be careful, but let's say you're making images, or you have an image generator, or you have a filter, or you have any of these things. Where did those outputs live. And one of the things that we learned about yesterday was you can upload those to Bazaar, which is a marketplace for those kinds of things. It doesn't just limit itself to, let's say, JPEGs. It can also be snippets of code. It can be whatever your good or service is. And then you get to set the licensing agreements. So here in, legacy world, in analog land, as an artist, if I was to make a picture of, a penguin, whatever, and it goes on a shower curtain and Target buys it, I get paid every time Target sells something with my image on it. I get a percentage, I get a royalty. There's either a royalty mechanism or they can buy it flat out at a high exorbitant price, so we can cut ties and it's just a transaction. But to be able to assign a royalty to your asset, to your atomic asset, is very important. It also is the way that we digitally notarize your contribution. So if you have a team and you're checking in daily, and you can actually give attribution to each person's contribution, which is really important for patents and for, all sorts of things. If you're building an app that is a cohort that, let's say, is making a drug, for the pharmaceutical company, well, you could give attribution to your contribution as a human, and then also give attribution to your agent. Your agent can work on your behalf. Your agent can earn an income. Your agent can reallocate resources. So there's lots of different things that you can do and be very creative in bending the tools that we have at our fingertips. So yesterday, we did have the databases. We did go over a ton of different things. There's lots of links in the Slack channel, places that you can use, tools that you can use, different ways that you can use them. Today is going to be very special, I will just say. I'm not giving away exactly what we're up to, but I will say that we have a special guest. So, like we have in the past, we are going to invite people to stay a little bit later. And we're going to have a very special guest come in and chit chat with you. We want to make sure that you get FaceTime, for lack of a better term, with some cool people. So at about 11 o'clock, rather than closing it out, we are going to continue past just a smidge, not too long, so it's not going to wreck your day. You still can, grab a cup of coffee, enjoy, and listen to some experts that are going to tie into today's challenge. As always, the challenges are up at the top in the pinned post at the top of the Slack channel. Each one of those days recap has kind of a bullet point list. You want to make sure you're doing your best to check off everything, and then you can make your submission. We do have a lot of people that are just submitting every day. Highly recommend that route, because today is going to be very stressful if you're trying to turn in all 5 things. We are going to have some check-ins, basically proof of life, probably tomorrow afternoon. Hasn't been set in stone yet, but we want to make sure you will get fair warning. We're just going to check in for last minute details if people have questions, comments, or concerns. And then obviously Sunday afternoon. Sunday is going to be the day that you're going to turn things in. I think 11:30 Eastern Standard Time is the deadline. Highly recommend trying to do it a little bit before then. You do not want to wait till the last minute and then, get out of luck if technology is not your friend that day. So you are going to have an open link. The open link will be there on Sunday morning. So anytime on Sunday, because some of you are future dwellers living overseas. We get it. We know it. We understand it. So Sunday, you will have the link. Now, granted, if you don't have all of your challenges clicked off, your submission is not going to qualify. You need to make sure that you have all of the little things checked off and something turned in for each of those days that is according to, you can't cheat the system, folks. So you can't turn in the same thing for all 5 days. You have to kind of do it in little breadcrumbs. This is not to annoy you. This is not to spin your wheels. This is not to waste your time or, make you stomp your feet and swear at your computer. That's not why it's here. It's there to hold everybody accountable and make sure that we're running a good show. Good hackathon. We want to be transparent in how, each of our folks came about their submissions. All right. I am going to test Ross's mic. He needed a few minutes to set up.
How do I sound?
You sound awesome. I know your mic is just, fantastic lately. Mine may not be, but go ahead and.
I got, before we even go into anything, I do have some housekeeping-ish stuff. So first thing is I did take a peer into some of the submissions, not to judge them. I just had a feeling that maybe this might be a problem. So I decided to check it out, and I did see some of you submitting things that, when you click them, it says Vercel deployment not found or something like that. Be very careful. If you submit a broken link, we don't have the ability to reach out to you and say, hey, I need to get a different link for you. Like, we're not going to have this ability. So if your link is dead or down, we just move on to the next submission.
Can they resubmit?
Yeah, they could all the way up until the last minute. So make sure right now that you're checking all the links you're submitting, and if you're not sure, just submit another one. We'll take the one that works. But this is really important, guys, and it wasn't just one person.
Well, okay, so when you're submitting, if you're resubmitting something, does it erase the previous submission, or
No,
is it?
we'll see it.
Look at the latest.
Yeah, we'll see it, and we'll use the one that works.
Got it.
But if you log into your app and it works, you got to remember Vercel will let you see special versions of your website, not the public. So test all of your links, and this is a pro tip, in like a different browser, incognito, not logged in. And if it still works and you still could log in and go through your auth experience, then you're okay. But remember, it's like you're not even competing if your link doesn't work at the end. Like, we cannot reach out to you guys. There are way too many of you. This is not like season 9 where there's like 30 of you. There's like 150 of you. So it's very important. And you've seen this too, Sarah, in class, where people be like, look at my link and it's dead.
Yeah, this is what we're talking
But
about.
we can't have that in this submission, or else they won't be able to be judged.
And this is important in terms of, for you folks, that this is your very first hackathon. This is a discipline that you have to add to your workflow. Test, retest, and test again. This is like the old adage. You're going to measure twice, cut once. Okay. You want to make sure that you're doing that. And, having people around you, especially if you trust folks that are in the Slack channel, if you have people in your Pocket family that you can, kind of tap and say, hey, does this work for you? What are you seeing on your end? Because a lot of times, when you're building, you see a different ecosystem than what the outside sees. So you're in this little glass bubble and everything's working like perfect. Outside of the glass bubble, people are like, what is that goldfish doing swimming around in circles? There's nothing there, right? So you want to make sure that you are having an outside third party, somebody looking at your link, and then simple things, okay? I am a grammar, I get very upset with grammar. Grammar and spelling, right? It just sticks out to me. It is one of my superpowers, whether it's an editor thing or whatever. Making sure that things are spelled right. Making sure your AI has put words in the proper context. Because, that's one of the things that is very telling. When you're using AI and you've been playing with AI for some time, you know what AI's crutches are. Hyphens. Weird placed words, let's delve, turns of phrases that are very kind of telling that, yep, this is all AI, you know, go back and actually put the proofs of human. Okay, use the words that you use, make it more personable, make it more familiar. If people are investing in you, they know me as a blue haired, right? But when I'm out in public, right, most people know I lost a bet. That's why I'm wearing a blue wig. When they see me teach, it's a freaking shock. And sometimes they don't even recognize me. They're like, "Where's Sarah? She's supposed to be our teacher today." And then they see this, pseudo redhead with gray streaks in her hair and a floppy mess of curls. And they're like, "Who are you?" Right? There's a major disconnect because they have built something in their mind, a palace in their mind of what they expect when they come to your stuff, right? So you want to make sure that you are being consistent, that you're using the vernacular that you use. I use tackle hugs all the time, have for 20 years. People understand that. When I, clink coffee mugs, they know I'm a coffee addict. If that's not in somewhere, then they know, hey, this is probably created by something else, or you know what, she's outsourced this. This is not something that she did. All right. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have everything embedded with your superpower. There are sometimes when you want to build something just for the sake of building it and flipping a quick buck. I get it, right? So, but you do have to be brand consistent. So you can't have wonderful, font and color, and then all of a sudden create a dialogue that does not match the vibe of everything else. You want to have a cohesive package because, even with your data, right? Even with your responses, everything is consistent so that from tip to toe, it can speak for you when you're not there. If your link is broken, how is it going to speak? You're mute. You're unable to convey your message to the judges. And the judges are not going to reach out and tap on glass to talk to you. They're just going to say, wow, I really wish I could have interacted with this, whatever. Move on. Because they have a job to do too. They have 150 different plus, I should say, submissions. And you're submitting them at, 11:30 at night on a Sunday night. And they're going to be up all night judging. They're going to be judging everything overnight to make sure that we can have results and things on Monday. So if you are adding friction and making it a point where it's going to be really tough to look for you, to understand what the heck you're built, if you cause friction, meaning I have to stop and really overthink this to kind of fill in the gaps, then you're going to lose brownie points. And that's not cool because you worked too hard over the week. All right. Ross, I'm seeing that you have some interesting stuff on the screen. What is in play for today?
We're gonna get to that, but I want to get to all the questions and all that stuff. This is the last official challenge live stream. There's gonna be one more live stream, but it's not gonna be based on a challenge. It's just gonna be any last minute information you guys need. What I will say is be responsible. One thing you can do is if you're unsure if your submission is working, you can reach out to our team and we can check it beforehand. We just can't do it during the Sunday or Saturday because there's going to be a lot going on. But feel free to message us if you want to make sure that your app works that you submitted and we could log in. Because one thing we can't do is re-entry. So we can't be like, hey, disregard that, use this link instead. We just got it from Sarah. That we cannot do. So if you're unsure, please reach out via DM and we can tell you if it works or not. Another question is and I'm just reading them straight from Slack. If I have the same link that satisfies different challenges, can I use them? Yes, you can. And Douglas, it's not about the state of the day. It's about, does it fulfill the challenge? So if you submit it for a challenge 2 and it satisfies challenge 2, then it's okay. The link doesn't technically have to change, but it should fulfill each of the challenges. So if you are using the same app each time, make sure it fulfills each challenge that you're submitting it for. Any other last minute questions? I'm trying not to scroll up, get through all of them. Hold on. Yes, you could submit anything that shows that you completed it. Make sure that if you submitted a link on week 1 and it does and satisfies day 1 and it satisfies the challenge, when it comes to challenge 3 and 4, you would just submit the same link. Because the idea is we don't read code. Well, I read code, but not all judges read code. So it's just a link that they can click to see the functions. That's what's really important. Someone like me that can look and see your API calls in your code does not, I mean, it helps me, but it doesn't help other judges. And unfortunately, there's more judges than just us. So yes, you can resubmit the same link as long as it satisfies the challenge. Does that make sense? Does the app need to be ready to launch and fully finished for each challenge? Okay, so no, it does not have to be ready to launch at the end of the hackathon. It just has to fulfill the challenges. So if there's still work to do fully finished and launching, that's okay. You want to get as much as the challenges done as you possibly can. If not all, some. So, for example, Morgan, I know you have your app that you're working on. If you use the same app each challenge, that's okay as long as it fulfills all the challenges. Just don't submit like a picture or code because that's not going to help our judges. That only helps developers. Any other burning questions before we go over the last challenge? I want to try to get to as many as possible live. And I gave us till 10:30, Sarah, to answer any questions that people have. So we're almost there.
Yeah, we do have a lot of questions, actually, kind of weird questions about, the links. Okay. I don't know if this is going to make everything as clear as mud or add clarity. When you have challenge 1, don't overthink it. You just need a web page. Okay. When you think of the next day, the integration, you're adding your web page plus the integration. There should be a succession. If you are waiting until today to check all of the boxes and you're turning in the same link for every single day, that's going to be a problem. We want to see the evolution. We want to see the evolution of how you are building out your thought process because, or your thesis, put it that way. Because I will tell you, there are a lot of people that turned in their handiwork, their, website design on Monday. And by Wednesday, when they have the AI is integrated and they have their core logic, they realized, hey, you know what? My project, it felt a little bit too big. So I am kind of reevaluating and it looks totally different. We want to see that, because that's part of a hackathon. You're not coming into this entire ecosystem with something pre-built. That's the point. You have to build it in the allotted window. You're not coming to the table with something that's already done. You might have interesting snippets of code or cool tools in your toolbox or your quiver, your tackle box, whatever, that you're bringing to the table, your expertise, your skills, your talents, your everything, your ideas. But ultimately, the idea is that you are riffing off of maybe past ideas that fit the criteria, but it's a new thing. It's a new thing for this event. There are some events where it's just like if you were to write a book, right? You give an editor the right of first refusal, which means I'm going to show that project to that editor first. No one else gets to see it. That can apply also to hackathons. It has to be something that has never been, out in the wild before. It has to be something that you haven't shown before. You can't go and shop around existing ideas. It has to have a veneer of something new to it, right? It has to be something that is improved on or bigger or larger. If you've been talking about, I don't know, a brand analysis app. I'm pulling this from the air. If someone is designing this, I'm sorry. A brand analysis app where you talk to the bot. The bot says, hey, you know what? You kind of remind me of a Gothic Victorian personality. I think we should use purple and black and, a little bit of gray, maybe a splash of red to your, your product, your good, your service. You're going to make it match, right? Let's say you're putting that out in the wild. Well, you're creating this app for this space, this time, this contest. So it has to be something different than just a brand analysis. It has to be, oh, by the way, here's how you personally, a personal brand analysis, not just a service. This is how it's going to dress you every day. You want to look like the wafu or waifu. You want to do anime. You want to have your nice little Victorian black and white outfits and your stockings and your fancy little wig. Whatever. It has to be completely different. You're walking into the door with maybe this amalgamous idea, but you are going to take the challenges that you have each day to kind of hone and extract something bigger, better, hasn't been seen, and you're giving respect not just to the game or the event, but also our sponsors by saying, yeah, you know what, I really am adhering to, the core or the ethos of spirit, for lack of a better term, the spirit of a hackathon. So you want to make sure you're doing that, because in some other cases, we know a lot of you are from class, right? We know a lot of you are new to this whole entire environment and that you're testing your chops, and this is kind of a scary thing. And we know that you came to the table with some things that you were working on in class. Great. But just take it to the next level and make it something that we haven't seen before. Because that's going to put you in a better position too. So those snippets of code have to be original. You have to be building on it every day. We have to see the evolution, and we have to see something that you haven't been working on or talking about in spaces for the last year. Okay. I know that sounds harsh, but you can take maybe a little piece of something that you've been working on for the past year or something. Or it might be, you had this idea and it's just been a blank page up until today, right? Maybe it's an idea like, I have a publishing company that's on the moon right now. I have not built that whole thing out yet. So I have a blank page. I have a tabla rosa, a risa, I guess that's what I call it, blank page, right? I have a blank page to work with. I have a domain name, and then I can build off of it or something of that sort. So I hope that answers the question. I know there is a little bit of confusion, but you will get dinged, folks, if you try to turn in the same link for every single day.
Now, one caveat, if you do turn in the same link, it's that it progresses. So if I go on your link and I look at challenge 1 and it does challenge 1, then I look at the same link and it also has been updated to be challenge 2, that's when the same link works. But that's the only time. So this allows you guys, if your original first project or first landing page, you got to the second stage, I'll explain. Everyone just hang on. So you can put the same link. You just can't put like the same landing page for each challenge, because not every challenge is a landing page. Putting the same link is okay if it fulfills the challenges. But let's say it doesn't and it was too hard to integrate whatever. You can actually build something else that fulfills the challenge too. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. You just have to have something different for each page or each day, right?
So basically, like if I have a link that's about you, Sarah, and Maker Faire, and the first challenge was I need to have a landing page. So that's a landing page. But then challenge 2 requires something else. And then I go back to that link and I add new features. Right, Sarah? Then I submit the same link, which has both challenge 1 and challenge 2 in it.
Perfect.
That is when the same link is totally fine.
Yes, that is, and I'm sorry if I added confusion, but we have to see the evolution, folks.
No, hold on. I want to eliminate confusion. So Sharon, no, what you did is correct. You just deployed the updates and you use the same link. Correct. That is totally fine. It's when the link doesn't represent the challenge, it's a problem. So if you send a link and it doesn't have the challenge in it, that link, then you can't be judged on the challenge because the link you submitted doesn't have the challenge on it. But if it's the same link every single challenge that has each of the challenges in that link, you're totally 100% fine. Also, if you do not submit a link or skip a day, you most likely won't be judged. So don't skip a day. It's kind of like when you're taking a test in school and they tell you don't leave it blank. So just don't leave it blank. You never know, and it always is worth submitting something. It's not worth skipping it. Everflow, let me answer your question. Let me scroll out. Bolt app, change from day 2 to day 3. Yeah, so you're fine, Everflow. Totally 100% fine, just like Sharon, as long as what you're building, that same link, does fulfill the challenge, you're fine. And anyone looking for any of the challenge links, I'm going to be giving you them today. So you'll get challenge 5 today, and I'm going to put challenge 4 submission in Slack in case anyone doesn't have it. Hold on. So I tried to get to everyone's question. I got John's question. Sharon's, you're good. Everflow, you're fine the way you're doing it. As long as when I look at your link for day 3, it fulfills day 3. Yes. There's a lot, so I'm working on getting through all of them. Hold on. Yeah, you're fine, Douglas. You're okay. I just saw your question. And Alice Starboss, yes, they can if they want to. But odds are they're not going to watch about 7 hours of content to see your progression.
Ross, for the benefit of the live stream, can you repeat the questions folks are asking and then say, yeah, this is how we're going to answer it? Just
Yeah, so
because you're like, yeah, Starbucks, you're awesome.
Douglas asked, I forgot you guys don't see this. Douglas asked if he had an idea about a year ago, and then he hadn't actually built it out, and he started working on it. Would that work? And I said yes. Everflow said the app from day 1, 2 to 3 is all the same link, but it has evolved from each day. Now, when you say evolved, it's totally fine as long as challenge 1 is still present in the link when we're looking at the challenge 5 version. So just make sure all the challenges are able to be fulfilled by your app. I'm trying to read. Yeah, Taylor, you could do that. Taylor asked if he could copy each challenge into a checkpoint, like a challenge link. You could do that too. You don't need to submit documentation, code, process of your project. That's from what comes to mind. And what comes to mind asks, do we need to have documentation? And Sharon had a slight misunderstanding, so I'll say it on live stream so no one else is misunderstanding it. She asked if you have the same link over and over again with updates, is that fine? And it is. So you can do the same link. And no links have been judged today. So Dorian asks if he submits today, is that okay? You can submit all the way until Sunday night, Monday morning on all of the links. So all links will be active all the way to the end, giving you the ultimate longest amount of time to go in and submit and change anything. And we're going to go right back to questions in a second. We're going to take a quick break from questions. I'm going to just announce the last challenge, and then we'll go back to questions. So day 5 is it's Monday morning. So pretty much you have Monday morning. I'll set a time, but it's not 11:59. I'm going to give you guys a little bit more time. So day 5 is about enhanced AI capabilities and polish. So what's really important about these two things is that one, you have some enhanced AI integrations or features, but then you also polish everything up. It was Sunday, what comes to mind for sure. We just wanted to give you guys a little bit more time, so we're going to extend it a little bit. It'll be Monday, and I'll announce the time after this. So what we want to think about is adding powerful features like upload and processing, multimodal AI capabilities, text, images, voice, specialized functions that tailor to your app's unique purpose. So it's pretty open-ended, right? The challenge, it depends on what you're doing. So if your app is how to play video games better, how to beat Super Mario, right? So you would want to add abilities to this website, like maybe the chatbot can take a video of someone's gameplay and analyze it using Gemini. That's like an advanced feature that goes with my theme. So the flavor of this feature is going to be very dependent on your ideas. So what we want to help you accomplish is implementing analysis, file upload, processing, image documents, PDFs, things like that. Multimodal capabilities, so vision, image, voice, all that kind of stuff, or one of them, not all, just really enhancing what we already have. Build advanced interaction patterns and workflows. So an example of that is you have a chatbot. It has a little bit of memory, local storage, but now you want to add in RAG or something like that. That's like a specialized thing. So creating RAG integration that's specialized. And integrate multiple AI services for enhanced capabilities. So like you just don't want to be just one API key. You want to be multi-API key, multimodal, many different things, many AI functions. You want it to be more of a full-fledged service. And to do this, you got to think about adding different models. And if you've done this already, amazing. Good job. The core deliverables that are really important is polished flow for the user to interact with your app. So that's like from the beginning to me getting a generation or my result, that flow being carefully looked at to make sure it's not a broken flow and the UX UI is good. AI processing of content, so that's image, documents, audio, really anything. One specialized AI function that pertains to your app's purpose. So that means you can't just take a random AI feature and be like, this is it. It has to make sense. Like, it has to belong to the family of services. It has to be like a cousin, not like a stepsister. It has to be related, direct relation to your services.
A cousin, not a stepsister, is going on a mug.
Multimodal interactions combining text with other media. We went over this already. And advanced AI workflows that showcase your app's unique value. Now, I threw you guys a bone for sure because you guys can use the AI Tutor API to do specialized workflows. And everyone gets free credits. And if you have AI Tutor, you can get a credit bump. And I'll drop the link. You can create specialized workflows and you don't have to code them. Once you make your workflow, you can simply just call it via your website, via API key. And everyone gets 10 credits, which is enough to actually submit for us to test. And if you want more credits, just send us your AI Tutor email, and we got you. And let me make sure I didn't miss anything. And I'm going to publish this so you guys can see it. So the success criteria that it's like, I'm good. It's that users could process files and upload things and do specialized actions within your app. AI can analyze text, image, document, your choice. App has a unique specialized AI capability beyond beyond basic chat. This is important here for this challenge. Multimodal AI features are working smoothly and provide value. So it doesn't matter if it just works. Right, Sarah? It's going to work and provide value.
You need that Lambo.
And it has to, all the features have to integrate well. Advanced workflows should demonstrate the app's purpose. And you're ready for optimization and submission to our final link. Anybody have any questions, drop them in the chat and we can go back to answering questions. But I'm leaving it pretty open-ended. Challenge 5, it's make it not basic, basically. So challenge 5 is don't be basic.
If it just looks like Bolt spit it out, that is not proof of human, right? You have to make it, you have to have these touch points. You have to make it unique. You have to make it feel like you actually were participating. I know that sounds kind of wonky, but when you start seeing, and I'm choosing my words carefully, when you start seeing a lot of apps that are being collaborated with AI out in the wild, they all start to look the same. You know, the family tree is a tree stump, okay? In keeping with Ross's analogy, right? You needed to branch out. You needed to not have the Habsburg chin, okay? You need to make sure that the telltale signs are kind of muddied in the water, for lack of a better term. You do want to have those proofs of human because, you know, from a totally outsider point of view, we are all vying for units of attention. And if everything looks the same, your eyes just scoot right over it. Your eyes as a human, because you're both predator and prey, are kind of your lizard brain is wired to look for things that are out of place, things that are out of order, things that need fixing, things that could be a danger. You know, it's the equivalent of having an entire monochromatic world and a bright red cardinal comes wandering by, sits on the fence. It draws all of your attention instantly.
And also, it's now in the Slack, so there's proof. Doreen put it in the Slack. She actually mentioned that each link can be submitted until Sunday. So you guys have it there in black and white text. No confusion. You can submit all the way through the weekend.
No, okay. You guys, look. I'm personally an overachiever. I'm a type A overachiever, have to check all the boxes and make sure. So if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you could be late. You know, you don't want to depend on technology. I do believe, and I could be wrong, Ross will correct me lovingly and smack me down. I think on Sunday, the link for submissions will just be open. And you can submit when you feel ready and then go to church or do whatever you do on Sunday, take your day of rest, whatever. It'll be open. So, you know, it's not going to say, oh, it is 11 o'clock p.m. Ding. And here's your box is open. I don't think it'll be like that. I think that you will have a Sunday Dropbox. I know that we'll have a Sunday last minute space just to, you know, get the last minute anxieties out of the way and answer any other last minute questions. So you'll be able to check in at that point too, just to make sure, you know, we want to make sure everybody has a good experience and doesn't feel like they're left out or they're missing something. So I'll just leave it at that. But just keep your eye open on Sunday, right? And if you're ready to you know, hit the button, click the thing, send the thing, then go do that and then walk away from your screen.
The only thing I will say that is kind of important and that's you should do is don't not submit one of the links. You can always submit wherever your progress is, but to not submit it, you're not going to end up in that final list for the judges to look. So to end up in the final list, you have to have a completion of each challenge. So an example, Sarah, let's say I did most of the challenges, but like challenge 3 is kind of weak, and challenge 4 I didn't really finish, but I'm gonna give the link anyways. I could still win something, even if I don't win. But if I say challenge 2 is weak, I'm not gonna submit it. I can't even win anything.
Yeah, it's better something than nothing. Yesterday, I don't know if we posted this anywhere. I thought we did. I'm trying to find it because I'm scrolling through. It could be just two multiple screens. Yesterday, it was Postgres, POSTG as in George, RES. Neon Mongo is MONGO, and then the DB, the database. You want to make sure you have that. That I think is where you
Also, I'm getting another question from Cyril. Can we get a list of all of the submission links? Yes, I will do one Slack post now that all of them are public with every single submission. So challenge 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll put that in Slack for everyone.
Excellent. If we don't have any more questions, guys, Ross is going to start going over what today's challenge is. And I do believe.
No, I'm not going to go over. I'm going to send it out. We talked about it. I just didn't send it out yet.
Perfect.
What I will say is don't leave because we got something coming here shortly. So don't leave the live stream. It is not ending.
Yeah, that's what the tail end of my comment was going to be. In about 12 minutes or so, we will have an addition to our live stream. So make sure that you're keeping track of the pages. One of the things that I saw someone do last night, I'm stealing it. So if I'm not giving you credit, I apologize because I don't know where it came from. They are printing them out, just like I did. Printing out these pages with all of the criteria and then just kind of putting them in a binder or putting them in your analog catch-all commonplace book, whatever it is that you want, your engineering notebook or whatever. This is really important because some of the deliverables or the checklists, this is invaluable, whether it's a part of this hackathon or not. This is a perfect way to build out a project bit by bit and make sure that you kind of have everything integrated in a very strategic way. So you want to make sure that you're kind of, thinking about the future. How are you going to integrate your experience that you've had over the last 5 days or 7 days into your everyday after? It's like when you go to a convention or a park or whatever, you have the experience, but how do you revisit that? How do you, enjoy yourself again? Go ahead, Ross.
No, you're good. I'm just getting screens ready for what's coming next. That's all. You can continue.
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure that Artemis was not going to rile up Larry in the background. For all of you, most of us have dogs. So Amazon comes, and I hope that you can't hear our dogs, caterwauling in the background. But that is something that's really important, folks. Keep track of your journey. Use the tools that you have. Figure out what they're integrated for. A lot of folks that have been helping each other. I was telling Ross before the live stream started, the camaraderie and co-opetition that is happening, not just in the Slack channel, but on the various streams, whether it's in Facebook, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Insta, whether it's TikTok, whether it's, Blue Sky or whatever, alternatives. It's been really amazing to see how folks have created some really powerful friendships and synergies within the ecosystem. Seeing people post their progress, Jules and Starboss and Sharon and AI John, when they're posting as they go on, X. This is really cool. And there are a lot of people that are outside of our hackathon that are paying attention. They're like, how come there is such a synergy between the participants? How come there is this camaraderie? And I just want to say thank you because, we're all in this together, struggling. We're in the trenches, but you are setting an example, but also a very high bar for other people. Other people are going to be integrating a lot of the things that we're discovering in this ecosystem into their own hackathons, which I think is really, really cool. And the idea that you are hacking your own education by pushing the envelope and putting your hat in the ring. You know, we did this at Maker Faire for, 2 decades, where you don't know what you're capable of until you say, I have no other choice than to finish it out. And, to those of you that have made it this far, you should really sit back and just bask in the glow of your achievement. Win, lose, or draw, you have stuck it out for 5 days and you are doing the thing. You can build just because you can, not because you have to. And that, I think, is very empowering. Many of you are going to close out this week. On Sunday night, you're going to sit back and go, wow, I actually accomplished something. Or maybe I didn't accomplish enough, but I still accomplished something, right? I still put my neck out and, tried to see what I was capable of. Those are really, really powerful, kind of catalysts in your own life as a person that is taking ownership of the journey. Whether, we talk about voiding the warranties, opening the box, voiding the warranties, running the bases, sliding into home base, nothing left on the field. These are the kinds of things that are really amazing to watch. And I just wanted to give people their flowers because we were talking about it this morning. And I'm really proud of the behavior. There's no cutthroat. There's no, I'm going to, hurt somebody else's chances. I'm going to, give false links or, the unsportsmanlike conduct that can sometimes happen when you have prize pools that are this big. I'm just seeing a lot of wonderful people being awesome humans. And so I just want to make sure to pat your back in case you haven't done it yourself, because sometimes we can't reach in the middle of our back. That's why people give us the universe gives us more people, is for the itch in the middle of your back you can't scratch yourself. I'm patting you on the back because I'm really proud of you. All right.
I have just some questions. So,
Sure.
RAG is considered multimodal depending on how you do it. It's definitely an advanced AI feature. And you could copy your stuff for each challenge and submit different links. That's totally fine. Hold on, I'm getting more questions. Yes, you can keep submitting all the way up until the last day, but no, you can't be judged unless you complete all of them. Does that make sense? Because I want to be really clear. So, like, you should submit something for each challenge. If you skip one, that's the thing you don't want to do. So it's not like best 2 out of 5 or 3 out of 5. It's 5 out of 5. But even if you're not done, I still would recommend, in this case, to submit still. Any other last minute questions? And then we're going to go into our guest, who is from Daytona. And we're going to also ask him 2 of the questions that we were talking about in our challenge declaration, because I feel like Daytona itself is just a very interesting way to do interesting AI stuff that people haven't seen before. We're going to bring him up in a minute and check his mic. Hello, how are you? Good morning.
Hi there, everyone.
So first of all, Nicola, thank you for coming. And second of all, thank you for being one of the sponsors, one of the bigger sponsors for the AI Mastery Hackathon. We truly, truly appreciate your support. And if you would, can you talk a little bit about Daytona and why it's so awesome? Because it is awesome.
Thank you, Ross. Thank you for having me. And of course, Daytona is proud to sponsor the hackathon event. Maybe in some short sentences. What is Daytona? So it's a cloud runtime, as we like to call it, built for AI agents and modern development workflows. It basically runs your code in a sort of disposable containers with zero setup, where you get instant sandboxed environments, native GitHub integration, and support for agentic workloads like MCP, LLM orchestration. You get full SDK for code execution, file operations, networking, and previews. So whichever whatever your agent needs to do, execute a command, you can do it through Daytona. The best explanation I heard recently from my colleague explaining it was when you ask Cloud Code or Chat to multiply a couple of 10-digit numbers, it will, in the way that GPTs work, it will assume the multiplication of those numbers, and it can be often incorrect. But if you give them a Python script that they can execute somewhere, you will definitely get a correct result. And that environment where the multiplication is being executed is Daytona, so basically a laptop for a MacBook for your agent, sort of. So if you're building anything AI native or developer facing, we can give you an execution layer that just works. And open to any questions that you might have.
Yeah, so I actually have a bunch from the last few days about Daytona that maybe you can help answer for everyone.
Hopefully,
A lot of them are new. A lot of them are first-time Daytona users, and maybe never seen something like this. So, and now keep in mind, I do know the answer to some of these, but it's helpful to hear your answer. So, is Daytona like an LLM? Do I need an LLM to use Daytona?
Yeah, so Daytona works best in combination with LLM. So Daytona is an execution layer for an LLM. So when you combine the two, you get your application that generates data, or an application, or a game, or a web app, and such. So think of it as a LLM being the brain and Daytona being the machine for execution.
Yeah, that's actually a really good explanation. So another one, this is going to be a fun one for you. How does Daytona work with Docker? Because we have a lot of new Docker users and new Daytona users.
Of course. So we do have a Docker file where whoever is familiar with the Docker and the Docker file declarations, we also support the Docker file because our sandboxes run in a Docker-like container. So basically, whoever is familiar with the Docker files can declare whatever dependencies they need for their agents to run. It can run in Daytona. Also, a great feature that we have is a declarative image builder, where you don't need to set up Docker, but build your image on the fly. So just request whatever dependencies and languages, extensions you need. On the fly, you can install it.
So that's really cool. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Now I have another question. Are you familiar with Modal?
Yes, not too in much detail.
No problem. So the TLDR with Modal is it's pip install Modal, right? And then Modal connects to GPUs. And we have a lot of people using Modal. So can, in theory, Daytona execute the pip install Modal and run something with a GPU that's using Modal?
I'm not sure. I might not be the correct person to reply to this. I know that most of our users use CPU based runtimes only. So maybe the GPU can get.
Well, the CPU. So it's basically like it's serverless. So it's a serverless Python SDK. So you don't need GPU on the Daytona side.
You don't need. Yeah. So we are a general purpose runtime platform. Yeah.
So I think it would work. By the way, I think Daytona sandbox execution could execute an environment, could run pip install Modal using your API keys, and it could run any arbitrary script using like inside the sandbox. I just never thought of it, so I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Let me know the results. But I didn't think of that, and I myself I'm not a software engineer, so I don't know everything right now. But happy to circle back later.
One of the
Here we
things
go.
we use Daytona for that it's insane is we're basically allowing people to create sandbox environments and allowing students to learn inside them. And one of the coolest use cases that we found in education were we have teachers using the sandboxes as their little curriculum data drawers. And
Mhm.
they're using an LLM to help organize and repurpose and create new data, keeping all the persistence inside of the sandbox, which is insane that you guys
Nice.
do. And when he says it just works, it's real. It really just works. It's pretty crazy. What would you say to like someone new using Daytona? Like if you met them right now, what would be like the top 3 things you would tell them?
That Daytona can do, like use cases, or
Yeah, like use cases.
So I would say code generation. So if you take there's a very cool open source AI agent called Suna that runs on Daytona, and anyone can set it up themselves. So you basically get a chat-like interface similar to V0, Lovable, and similar
What
code
about
generation.
like for if you were not the developer side, but what about like
Mm-hmm.
if you're creating something? So a lot of these students right now are creating AI enabled apps. So if I have an app that uses an LLM already and I'm already doing something, where could Daytona fit in? And that's like the burning question everyone is asking me.
Mm-hmm.
So already built app works with an LLM. What can Daytona bring to the table?
Of course. So we can bring a secure, isolated environment for any data that you might need to work on or generate new data, do any operations to the data, do a data analysis. So any sort of let's say analytics or calculation that you need to do over your data or your users of your app can do, your app can use Daytona to do it. Did that maybe answer the broad
Yeah,
question?
for sure. And I'm showing your documentation here, and guys, it is insane documentation. So you know how we talk about documentation being really good? I don't know how long it took for you guys to make these docs, but wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I joined after those docs were made, so I'm not really sure, but we are working daily on updating the documentation. Um, I know that we were just recently talking about should we introduce. I wanted to suggest some guides, and we also have guides on GitHub, like sort of cookbooks and examples on our GitHub. So we will incorporate both. We are working now on the redesign of this documentation, which will also have many examples, AI-powered search, and some cool new features.
so
Yeah,
I have your GitHub. So where can I see the cookbook?
So if you go to Docs,
I'm here.
Docs on GitHub, or maybe I can paste you here in chat. One
Yeah,
moment.
you can.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have another question that's interesting, and
Of
this is
course.
because I've been following Daytona for a bit. And are you guys based in New York, by the way?
Sorry.
Are you based in New York?
New York, companies in New York legally. Our founders are there. Uh, Most of the team is in Croatia, but we also have an office in San Francisco, so we are all around.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm originally
Yeah,
from New York. Maybe one time we got to meet and have some coffee.
definitely, definitely. Probably with Ivan. Ivan is
Yeah,
flying all the time.
I'll ping him. I'll be like, we got to have some
Of
coffee.
course.
So one thing that I wanted to ask you, and Sarah, you're gonna love this part of the story. So I've been following Daytona for a bit. What was interesting is they were open source. Can you tell me about how that happened? And it's so crazy.
Mm-hmm. So Daytona was founded in 2023. It was a different product than what it is today. Daytona was built on by founders who made code anywhere back in 2009. So they've created one of the first cloud IDEs. So you just log into your browser and start coding. You can share your development environment with different people, teams. It's really useful in schools where you don't need to save anything. You just exit or log out from your browser, and next time when you log in, everything is there. So the founders were pioneers of the cloud development environments. And in 2023, they shifted to different, let's say, enterprise or business-oriented development workspaces and open sourced it so everyone can contribute. There were some differences between the open source and the cloud model, which was licensed to other companies. But as many of the clients really wanted this sandboxed solution, Daytona pivoted in December of 2024 completely to the AI native SDKs. So the whole platform was shifted completely from the interface of coding to the interface of agents, as they like to say, or we like to say now that that the code will, as you all know, more and more code will be written by AI. So they also need an execution layer, and people are now also adjusting the documentation, and many of the marketing folks are also not doing anymore the SEO, but agentic search optimization. So everything is going towards the optimization of agents, and we are here on the wave, and hopefully here to stay. As the results show, I think it will.
Yeah, I think right now it's literally all about agents.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crazy. And seeing the way our teachers especially interact with AI and agents, it blows my mind. It gives me hope for the future of this sort of technology actually really helping people learn more effectively.
Yeah.
And I will tell you guys, if you're looking on the screen, there's TypeScript. And I think it's so powerful if you can just instantly have your app be able to execute, use a computer, go on the internet, like use all these crazy things, especially even charts. And I know a lot of you are doing analytics and different things. You can use Python as a code interpreter and make Daytona fire up the code interpreter, give you a result from your AI. So compute your data, make a nice Python graph, and then send it back to you, to the user. Same with like video. It could even like remove the sound from a video using MoviePy. Basically all Python. All Python functions can run. And I don't know how you guys did it, by the way, Nicole. It's kind of crazy, but it really does just work. It's wild.
Yeah. The team started the execution part and the networking with the servers and all the infrastructure from bottom up. So we do control all the let's say the control plane and the orchestration of everything. So the guys or engineers are really they really know what they do, and they've been doing the similar things since 2009. So the knowledge is there, and we will keep it going, of course.
It's such a joy meeting you, Nicola, and I really want to say thank you for your time. I was thinking about this. We have all of the the bells and the whistles and whatnot. I have two questions for you. One, why do you love your job? What are the cool things that you get to build? And little asterisk, what would you love to see someone build from Daytona that you haven't seen before? Something that would just be the icing on the cake if you saw out in the wild.
Of course. Thank you, Sarah. Nice meeting you as well. Something that I love about my job is really being able to work on many different things during the day. So I'm not a software engineer, not really familiar with code, although I work in Daytona. But all of this operational and let's say client-oriented things, doing the documentation, testing the examples, looking after customers, jumping into calls like these, or to demonstrate the application to potential customers and such. So it's very different each day, depending on if we have an event or a hackathon that we also attend, or just stay and update the documentation. And so every day there's something new coming up, and that's what's interesting. It's never, not one day is the same. On the second question, that's something that I haven't seen before that I'd like to see someone doing Daytona. It's a great question, really tough to answer, because when we talk with potential users of Daytona, we first ask them what does their company do, to see how we can accommodate their needs, because we are really broad. We are getting each day a new use case, whether it is code generation or data analytics or some kind of internal company LLM with data that cannot escape outside. But I'd really, and I really don't have a smart answer to that question until I see something great.
Well, the reason why I asked it, I know it's a tough question. I know it's a tough question. We're watching people in real time in our hackathon over the course of the week, really push the envelope of what these tools do. And Daytona was so generous with our participants. Many of our participants have never seen Daytona. And then the minute they open up their little swag bag, their turbo packs, and they get to see this, it's just really fun. And to watch how they're using it, when you have someone who has no idea what you do, they have no idea what it is, but they also have no preconception on how you're supposed to use it. So they often use it in ways that we don't expect. And I was just curious if there's anything that ever came across your desk where you saw it and you're like, wow, I didn't even know Daytona was capable of that. And that's really, really cool. You know, I get that all the time, the gobsmack moment. And I can't imagine being in your place and your position in the company too, that you get to see some really cool things and you get to meet fun people, you know, that are building. It's exciting. And I was just curious about that, but I do want to say thank you.
Well, I'll tell you, Sarah, I don't think he thought I was going to be using it in a classroom.
Well, I'm sure. And using it in a public hackathon, but also hacking your own education on Wednesday nights. Daytona is a big integral part of this season's projects. And, you know, when people are integrating it and seeing these things come into fruition, it's just so freaking exciting. And I'm glad that you're here as a representative, because Daytona is such a great company. And all of the people that we've spoken to, making time out of your day to come and talk to our class, and making time, you know, one of your colleagues came and talked to our class. And so you coming and talking to the hackathon and being so accessible, it really is a powerful statement about how you feel. Yeah, we're running AI, but we're really concentrating on the humans behind it. And it's very special, very special.
Of course. We always thank you for the kind words. And we always tend to be as close as we can with our users. So whenever you need someone from the team to jump in to answer any questions, or just here to bring an overview, or to all of the hackathon, to all the hackathon attendees, when you are logged in to Daytona, you have a small chat widget in the corner. You can reach out, and it's not an AI chat. You really talk with the team. So feel free to ask anything that you need or want.
Yeah, you know, we were just talking about how important it is to have good support when your customers need it, and I'm glad that even Daytona recognized it. It's one of, I think, the things that make companies and platforms really great. I also got a question that I think you can answer probably the best out of all of us. Can you explain the pricing of Daytona, how it works?
Of course. So we charge by the billable active compute seconds. So let me explain. When you run the sandbox, you can set its CPU, memory, and storage. When that sandbox is operating, so let's say your sandbox runs for 10 seconds to execute a command or to do some operation, Python script or whatnot, you are charged for those 10 seconds of its active state. You can manipulate the sandbox to go into archive mode. When it's in archive mode, it does not consume any compute. So you are not charged for anything when it's archived. When it's stopped, the way the infrastructure is built, when it's stopped, it's still consuming a hard disk because it's existing and it's ready to be spun up again really fast. So it consumes a bit of hard drive, but its CPU and memory, so RAM, is not being used. And those three factors combine at the end of the month for your monthly bill. It's a pay as you go usage-based pricing. And it's really optimize it it's really not costly to run if you are running something where your users are registering or with something for 10 minutes or half an hour. I believe when you start to scale, we will talk more about increasing your limits or how to optimize spend. So we are also very open to helping the users optimize their consumption and limits.
Yeah, I think it's really important for people to understand how awesome that is, because for your app, let's say your app that they're building is an AI, and you're like, give me the forecast for these crypto coins, and you give it internet access. Then the AI gets the Python script to run to get that graph, and then Daytona runs that script to get that graph, and then gives it to the user. I think is the most simplest use case, and then it just goes to sleep, basically, is what you're saying, after it's done.
Yeah, correct.
So in that scenario, I would be paying like 1 to 3 minute compute time, and that's it, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So that's what makes Daytona different from like other things that also run Python or other APIs or other services, is they're giving you this sort of thing that just works with whatever Docker you give it. And apparently, according to Nicola, if you don't have a Docker, it'll still work and still figure it out, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we announce the winners of the hackathon and they get the prizes, including the one from Daytona, they can build some serious stuff. And just know that his team is there to support you when you have trouble. And they do have a very active support right now in Slack that you can get from their website.
Of course, yeah, very, very happy to see how the hackathon unfolds. Can you tell me more about hackathon? Now it's day 5. Is it how many days?
So after today, they're going to basically start putting everything together. So days 1 through 5, we're building an AI application that solves a problem or provides a service. And they're able to use all of the tools available to them, plus whatever else. And the idea is at the end, they have some service or some website or some app that utilizes AI to accomplish a goal. And so at the day 5, today we talked about advanced uses of AI. So things like generating a graph or using multimodal design or APIs like Daytona or Modal, things that make your app stand alone and separate from all the other apps. Things that make your app specific to your use case, not just a random AI feature. And that's where I think Daytona really excels, because, yeah, you are a platform, this is true, but being platform reliant in this case, it's open-ended. Daytona lets you do whatever you want. They're just a bunch of components that could work with your agent. It's like giving your agent superpowers without having to run like a fast API Python backend.
Yeah. Or any need for a complex setup, signups and such. Yeah.
And I think once people understand when you're developing that you can now think of it like this, I think it's like a game changer. But it's like we're getting there, Nicola. It's like people are just realizing that it's like agents.
Correct.
far yet. They're still like prompting, and they're not understanding that we're gonna hit the automation part of all this very soon. And my
Yeah.
favorite part is human in the loop. So 3 things fully stand out with Daytona for me was the SSH, insane. The WebSocket connection where you can go and see like what's in your sandbox, and how you can go from VS Code to sandbox very, very, very easily. And I think
Thank
that's
you.
really
We are
important.
also we are also soon releasing the option to see every command that was executed in each sandbox for logging and auditing.
Oh, that would be amazing.
So that'll be pretty soon. I won't say next week, but in the coming weeks. It's in
And I'll
testing
tell
phase.
you, I was on their website and I was like, I wish this feature was here. And I told them, and they put it in very, very, very fast. It was awesome.
Yeah,
I
we're
do.
actively looking for feedback because everyone has different needs and uses Daytona in a different sense. So we are very very open to feedback, and we have quite a big issue list on GitHub that we actively track and resolve. So if you need any feature or have any idea how to make Daytona better, feel free to open a GitHub issue, and we'll be on it.
Does Daytona have internet access in the sandbox?
Does it have internet access in the sandbox? Do you mean in a sense of web search, or do you have a public preview link? Because you have.
So the question from George just said, does Daytona have internet in the sandbox? So inside the sandbox, I'm assuming there's internet because you can do installs and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not the most technical person here, so I'm using my own notebook for this. But of course, you can make outbound HTTP requests to fetch APIs, to download files, to install packages, or access any other public endpoints. So the answer
Yeah.
is yes.
So yes, George, you can.
Mhm.
And another thing that's super awesome is that you guys are, where is it? It was here. And you are compliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you can run, when you're running in the sandboxes, you're very, very, very secure. So any content in the sandbox is running securely, which is important.
And it only stays with you. We don't even get to see it.
Yeah, I think it's important when you're dealing with people's data, for sure.
Definitely.
But yeah, you guys definitely should check out Daytona. And those of you that are submitting for the challenges, you'll be able. There's some nice prizes, and one from Daytona will set you up for some good stuff. Wouldn't you say, Nicola? For the winner.
Definitely happy to support. Happy to support, and looking forward to how the hackathon unfolds.
Yeah, we're gonna actually be showing we're gonna have a list of all the finished products, so all the sponsors and judges can see them. So if you guys want to check out some of the stuff that was built, feel free.
I'm going to jump in and just say, Nicola, I just appreciate you beyond words. I don't think people truly know how generous Daytona is, and how much they invest in just everyday humans, and doing wonderful, amazing things. And I want to give you your flowers, obviously, because
Thank
it's
you.
wonderful to have you here and being so accessible to not just our hackathon participants, but just the entire ecosystem. You know, AI is new to all of us. I've been waiting 20 years for AI to kind of come into its own, and seeing all of these wonderful companies come out of the woodwork. And I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of your success. I wish you continued success, not just to the magnitude of 10 times, but 100 times. I hope that more companies pay attention to how you reach out to your user base and how you are always encouraging synergies. You know, when you say about a sandbox, that's very important because we share our same time, our tools, our ideas. And in that sandbox, like we say in class, we don't want it to become a kitty litter, you know, and we want to make sure that everybody is playing nice and doing awesome things. And you do that so well. And I just want to make sure that you know how loved and appreciated you are, and how you've changed the stars of so many of our students in such powerful ways. You've given them an opportunity of a lifetime to really build things that not just can help them monetarily, but build them and their relevancy for future. You know, you're building big projects that are going to outlast you. And I just wanted to say thank you so, so much for your time and your presence and getting to know you especially. So I hope the rest of the day treats you and the entire crew behind the scenes making things go kindly.
Thank you for the kind words. I'll tell everything to the team if they are not watching this already. But yeah, always happy to support, especially the hackathons and the students, the builders of tomorrow. With the tools, I believe with the right tools, they can achieve everything. So why not support them and to see what are the new ideas and what can be built.
Yeah, it's true, and I second everything Sarah said. I really appreciate what you guys are doing, both for this event because it's an amazing event and great opportunity for all these people to come together, to learn together and build together. But also, just when we first met, for us, Daytona is very helpful in our back end, helping us not have to deal with Python to do code interpreting and things like that, and just use sandboxes. And it's actually really useful when you put it in the right application. And speaking of that, I have a question. So could we use Daytona, this is from Brad, as a secure container for uploading legal or intellectual property docs for RAG API queries in his already existing app? That would be, yeah.
Of course, that's a great use case. Yeah. Yes to everything.
Yeah, so things like that is how you guys have to think. That's a great question, Brad, because
I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Because now it's going to basically have this secure area where no one can have access, and then only your RAG API would have access, and it would be isolated from the entire planet.
Yeah, good. Definitely something I'll explore more after this call.
Yeah, I think what would be fun is having these sort of fully, not full, right, but maybe sort of example apps of how you combine Daytona with an LLM, for example, in the GitHub. That would be something cool for you guys to do for people that are new to Daytona that are I want to fork this and just npm install and run dev and see how it works.
Of course, yeah. As I said, we are now redesigning the documentation for another platform where we will have many examples and starting apps already within the documentation for people to have a quick start, apart from the one which exists currently, which is just to spin up a sandbox. So yeah, it's coming probably end of next week. But yeah.
Nicola, you also brought up a really good point. We do have a lot of hackathoners participating that this is their very first one. And you put up an awesome link. It's already posted in the Slack channel. For those that have never looked into the documentation, right? Nicola is pointing you in a giant flaming neon sign saying, hey, look at the stuff that we have. If it is confusing to you, take those links and put them into your large language models. Have them distill it down and put it into bite-sized nuggets, because there's such valuable information. Nicola and his crew are not building documentation just to, be busy all day. It's because those cookbooks, just like the one we got yesterday from Arweave, these cookbooks are they're so chocked filled with awesome that you have no idea. And it is like a giant excavation archaeology project where you can kind of dig out nuggets and use them in your projects and your builds. And I highly recommend, if you don't have the time to read it all or anything else, really lean into your agents, lean into your large language models to suss out all of those little golden nuggets, because it'll make you a very wealthy person, not just currency wise, but wisdom wise. So yeah, thank you, Nicola.
I also have something to add on that. I'm pasting it right here. I don't know if you've heard of LLM's LLM.txt file. So it's a new trend for those who didn't know, where you can, let's say, put all of your documentation in a plain text file. So if you click on the link I shared here with you in the chat, it will open a text file which you can just click Control or Control A, Control C, so you can copy it directly to your LLM and just ask it questions. Hey, how do I set my sandbox to automatically archive, or any questions regarding volumes or any features in Daytona. So you maybe find something that we support or we don't support, and you are really faster in your process with Daytona. But with many other software tools, look for llm.txt file, search for it, or find it somewhere on page. If it exists, you can just paste it, like Supabase, which is widely used database software. They also have a type of LLM text file, which you can just paste in an LLM and just ask it questions. So you talk with your own LLM about the tools that you use and just get questions right away and learn along the way.
This is so freaking cool. I'm sorry. I was like, oh, I have already posted it in the Slack channel for those listening in. It's right there. Grab it, snag it, own it, void the warranties. This is
I will say before we end, that is like the coolest thing, this LLM.text, because you could just go to any AI and be like, I want to build this with Daytona, give it this link, and there you go. And everything it needs to know about Daytona.
Yeah,
I know, isn't that freaking cool? That's awesome. I'm so giddy.
Yeah, I was using it with Claude, I think, the Claude AI. I pasted the LLM text from Daytona. I pasted from one of the authentication providers for users to log in for database. So I kind of just copied all the stack that needs to be done for a software tool, and it started to instruct me on how to do it. So it was not AI code generation, but it was mostly like do this, do that, a guided way. So it's really cool, depending on how you use it. But yeah, really useful.
Yeah, and I want to say, one, we can't I'll get any questions to you in Slack that come after this live stream, if that's okay. I'm going to get a few. And I want to thank you, honestly, you and Daytona, because one, you made this hackathon great and more amazing than it was before you joined. And you've also helped us out so much in what we're building and with support. And we just really appreciate you guys. So from our whole team and the AI Mastery Hackathon, we really appreciate you and thank you.
Thank you so much for the kind words from both you, Ross, and Sarah. I'm really glad that you hosted me, and happy to join anytime.
And guys, if you have any questions for Daytona or Nicola, please put it in the AI Mastery Hackathon Slack channel. We're going to end the live stream right now, and we will see you guys in the next and final space, either Saturday or Sunday. We'll see when we're going to do the pop-up space and catch up with you guys. But other than that, good luck. You have all the challenges, and we really, really appreciate your participation in the first ever hackathon for AI Mastery.
Just last words, folks. Go on to greatness. Take a deep breath. Yes, it's Friday, but you know what? You still have 2 full days to make sure everything works. All of the bits and bobs are connected. If you need any help, obviously you can tap on Glass. You know where to get us. But I will tell you, I believe in you. And that's not smoke up your skirt. I see humans every day who are building things, pushing the envelopes of what they believe that they can do. You are fully competent, fully capable, and you have some of the most amazing tools at your fingertips. Think outside of the box. That's what humans do the best, is that they think of random, unexpected ways to use everyday things that are at your fingertips. Each and every one of you, if it's time to go to bed, all your dreams catch you, the good ones. If it's the rest of the day, I hope it treats you kindly. Go on to greatness, folks. Go on to greatness. We'll see you maybe tomorrow, but definitely on Sunday before your submissions are due. No panicking. Just, you know what? Just do. You build because you can, not because we have to. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.